Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Insurance Town. I'm the Mayor, Heath Shearon, and the host of this podcast. So glad you're here because I've got my man, Mike Mathwig, hanging out with us, and I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. I know that I did. Sponsors for this show are my good friends over at Smart Choice. Guys, please go check out smartchoiceagents.com if you haven't yet. There's over 10,000 agencies across the country that are trusting them. There are $11 billion in written premium. So carriers love working with them as well. They carry a lot of weight there. They have contracts that are agency friendly. They can help you have higher commissions, lower premium thresholds. They work with lots of E&S carriers, MGAs, commercial, personal lines. They have niche-driven business. They got it all. Go check it out, smartchoiceagents.com, and tell them the mayor sent you. Also, my really good friends over at Canopy Connect. Again, I don't know what you're waiting on if you haven't checked them out as part of your intake process, as part as the onboarding process, as part of just your prospecting. You know, one-click solution to getting deck pages, loss runs, driver list, vehicle list, any information that you need, they've got it right then and there. Use canopy.com/Heath. Get a discount, get a demo. Tell them the mayor sent you. Also, my friends at Old School Marketing. They help you with digital and direct mail pieces, handwritten notes, email marketing. They could do it all. Go to oldeschoolmarketing.com and tell Rusty that I sent you. You'll be so glad that you did. I promise you. Especially with holiday season coming up, go check it out right now. Get out your cool postcards out or your direct mail pieces out. Get ready for next year. Load up your pipeline. Great move. I'm going to get out of the way here. Check out my conversation with my man, Mike. Mike Mathwig, what's going on, my brother?
Not much. How are you?
Man, I am good. I'm real good. It's Friday, bro. I don't know when you're listening to this audience, but it's Friday. I'm in a good mood. It's actually kind of cold outside. I got a flannel shirt on. My man over here is wearing short sleeves, but I'm over here in a flannel, man. I'm guessing you're probably used to the cold being from Wisconsin, but I'm not down here in the South.
I am, but I absolutely hate the cold. So,
Dude, I do too.
yeah, I hear you.
I absolutely hate it, man. One of these days, I'm gonna find one of those places, whether it's San Diego, whatever it is, where it's like 70 all year round, or like 80, whatever it might be. I don't know if I want to go to San Diego, but I want to find a place that has that kind of weather, bro. That's where I'm at, man. I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it.
That's why I winter. I winter in Alabama for 4 months, 3 months.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts?
Gulf Shores.
Ah, it's the best, man.
It's awesome.
The Redneck Riviera, baby.
I've never heard that one.
No, that's what it is. That's exactly what we go there all the time for our family vacations. It's some good people watching, bro. Good people watching. You ever play some golf down there?
Yeah, I do. I play quite a bit of golf.
Dude, there's some good golf courses around that area, believe it or not.
Yeah, we used to have a place in the peninsula.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
over there, Kiva Dunes, bunch of good golf.
Yeah. I hear through the grapevine that you're a scratch golfer. Is that true?
No, far from.
Bro.
I'm single digits.
Okay. Someone lied to me then, man. That's all right. I'll take it. Well, hey, single digits, man. I'm lucky to get like a 20, handicap there on a good day. I'm a bad golfer, but I love to get out there. I live on a course, but I'm terrible at it. I think I enjoy the aspect of just riding on the cart and drinking a few beers and listening to music more than I do like being awesome at the game.
Yeah. The one thing I realized with golf is you got to play a lot. You got to practice.
You do.
Like I last year I played quite a bit. I got down to a 5.
Oh,
This
nice.
year, I may have 10, 12 rounds in. But the thing is with handicaps, once you get low, it takes a long time to get it back up.
It does. It really does. And that's the hard part. Sorry, my phone was ringing. I got to turn this off really quick. Okay, there we go. All right, put it on silent now. So, all right, talk to me a little bit about Mike Mathwig. Tell me a little bit. Let's go down memory lane. God, I got tongue tied. Let's go down memory lane. Let's talk to you a little bit about who you are, why I invited you on this show. What where are you at today? Like, give me a little bit because I've heard you got a pretty good one there.
Yeah, so I give you a quick little rundown. I started at good old Northwestern Mutual when I was in college. That's how I got into the insurance business. Northwestern is a great company. They have hands down probably
Yeah.
the best training around. However, you kind of just get thrown at a wall and see if you stick around because you're one of 4,000 interns. Um, I was pretty successful there. However, when I was graduating college, my parents said, "Hey, you need to go get a job. You need to start investing in a 401k." So, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at the age of 21, 22, something like that. And I was like, let's go into the banking world. So I went to the banking world because I was like, why not play with money all day long? That's pretty cool. It's a cool job. Worked for a bank for about 2.5 years. However, I always had the itch to get back into the insurance business. So in 2017, I started a side hustle in the Medicare business. Probably early 2018, I actually got let go from the banking world because they didn't like me prioritizing my side hustle over the bank. So in March of 2018, I went all in the Medicare business. That's where I made all my money and kind of just lived in that business. And quickly grew my personal book of business up to about 750 clients. My mentor at the time, him and I bought a business together, bought an agency. So we became business partners. And then I bought minority stake in his company. And then in August 2022, we sold it all.
That's a
So
quick exit.
less than 5 years. From my first app to the time I exited was less than 5 years.
Wow. What was the reasoning behind the quick exit?
Um, Everything has a price tag,
Yeah.
and when the price tag makes a lot of sense, like I was something that's probably gonna blow your mind is I did all of this before I was 30.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The day we exited, I was 29 years old,
Okay.
became a multi-millionaire overnight from the time we sold. And I tell everybody, and like people I help coach right now, I tell them, guys, everything has a price because when you look at it, you're like, okay, if someone's going to give you 10, $20 million for your book of business, why not?
So, okay, when you're talking back then, the multiples were probably a little higher than they might be now. And maybe they're not. You know this probably better than I do. But, what were the multiples looking like back then? And how did you determine what that multiple might have been?
Yeah, so multiples back then were not much different than they are now. They might be like a one, two times less
Okay.
just because cost of money is more than it was.
Sure.
But there's two ways to buy a book of business. Simplest and cleanest is a revenue purchase where you just pay based off of top line revenue. So if
Right.
the revenue is $200,000, you can sell that for anywhere for 300 to 450,000. So 1.5 to kind of 2.25. Right now is kind of the going rate. Or when you really have a business and not just a book of business, the big difference between that is a book of business, it dies with you. When you pass away, no one's there to take it over. Like you don't have a
Right.
team servicing it. You don't have LOAs. One two-man shops. That's a book of business where that's most likely be a revenue purchase, 1.5 to 2.25. However, when you have a business where you have staff, it operates with or without you, that's when you're going to get evaluated on an EBITDA.
Yep.
Easy way EBITDA, it's just income minus expenses. But the EBITDA, those go anywhere from, I think right now they're selling from like 6 to 8. But once again, the bigger your EBITDA, the bigger your multiple. Well, I have conversations with a lot of people all day long, and people struggle with like Well, my EBITDA is 500,000. I want 5 million for it. Sorry, that does not happen. Like you're not getting 10 times. You might get
No.
like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay with $3.5 million where right now you're making 600,000 a year? And if you're 55, 60, you're creeping up on retirement. Or for my matter, I was like, I can do this when I'm 29 and I can put X amount of money away. You know what? Compound interest, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this really quick. Okay. So going back to those, let's say 6, 7, 8 months, a year prior to selling out or to selling your business, did you and your partners intentionally work on specific things within your business to help you get ready for that sale, or it just kind of popped up and you just went?
Not a lot of people know this, but I bought into the agency 7, 8 months before we sold.
Oh wow.
So I got lucky.
Yeah. Wow. And sometimes that's what it takes.
It takes luck. Most successful people have luck at some point in time in their career.
Yeah.
But the thing is, our plan was never to sell. Our plan was for me to buy in minority stake in 5 years or so. My business partner, he was gonna want to retire. I was
Sure.
gonna buy out the other shares, and I would pay him out like an annuity. Like that was the plan.
Yeah.
But then when we got like our upline reached out to us first and said, "Hey, we want to buy you." We were like, and then they
Mm,
threw a number at us, and we were like, "Okay, we seriously have to consider this now. Like this isn't."
yeah.
Like if you would have said, "Hey, we would pay you 3 times revenue," we probably would have both said, "Yeah, no, we're good." But then when you start talking millions of millions of millions of dollars, like now you seriously have to consider, like, okay, what's our goal? Because I
Yeah.
knew once we saw those numbers that for me to buy out my business partner, I was gonna have to pay those numbers. And I'm thinking, okay, let's just use an example. If we're at $1 million in revenue now, we keep growing. Now we're at $2 million, and I would have to pay, let's just use up $10 million to buy it all. At 34 years old, did I really want to go into $10 million to buy out? That's what got me thinking, okay, is now the right time?
Being so young, that had to play a big factor in it. Does that? I mean, I know you got a family and kids and everything, but back then, I don't know you. What? How old you have a daughter, right?
I have son and daughter. Back then we sold,
But you didn't have the family back then, did you?
I had one son. We just had our
Okay.
1 year old.
But I mean, you start thinking about that, like, again, when you're 38, 39, 40, in your mid 40s, whatever it might be, it's a different ball game than when you're 27, 28, 29, whatever it might have been. That's just a different story altogether.
Yeah. Because I look at it like my kids were very fortunate where we're at today, being 31 years old. And like, this is most likely going to create generational wealth
Sure.
from that exit. If unless if something big happens, but like it's going to keep on compounding and it's just going to keep on going and going. And I kind of laugh. My wife and I preloaded some money in the kids' brokerage account.
Yeah.
I had to pay taxes last year on my 2-year-old retirement account because he had capital gains. I'm like, sorry, son, you're 2 years old and you're paying in taxes already. But like,
Right. But that's how you create that generational wealth, though, starting at 2 years old.
yeah, and if he lets that sit there till he's 65, it's wild.
Yeah, completely. So as a 20, you said 29-year-old, you got a kid, you got another one, you're building your family. Do you have the thought process before you're selling of like, this could be, my son's business down the road. This could be my daughter's business down the road. This could be, or that wasn't even a thought process at that point.
That wasn't a thought process, and the reason that is because like they could build one themselves. I'm not going to say here's $1 million, go start buying agencies, but I could teach them when they are 24, 24, 25.
Right.
I can show them the way and they can do it themselves. Being an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're in the service business,
Yep.
the real estate, but whatever business you're in, the
Yeah.
principles are the same. You add value to somebody, you get compensated for doing so. More value you provide, more money you make. So for my son, like if he, whatever business he wants to go into, I can help him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you look at it, people say some people say money talks, and it does when you're talking big money. And it's like, you know what? Some of my clients are there. I say, what's your exit plan? Every time I meet with a new client, I take them on for onboarding. My first call is like, what do you want to do? What's your exit goal? And some people are like, I want to pass it on to my parents or my kids. Some people are like, I want to sell it. There's no right or wrong answer. But what I tell everybody, I'm like, at some point in time, you might not want to pass it. If someone's going to offer you $15 million for your agency, are you going to pass that up to pass on to your kids? There's no right or wrong answer.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot in our industry, in the insurance industry, PNC, Medicare, life and health. I'm second generation. I didn't take over my dad's business. I started my own. My brother didn't take over my dad's business. He's doing his own thing. My wife's my father-in-law owned an agency, a good agency. We could have taken that over. We didn't. But there's a lot of those agencies out there that are second, third, fourth generation insurance agency owners. And there is that dilemma that they're coming up to them. Someone comes to buy and you're like, and my opinion is if you're that agency owner that has a son coming behind you or a daughter coming behind you, and they might be the third, they might be the fourth generation coming up. I would say you got to at least hear those offers out and have that conversation with your son or daughter, or have that conversation, because like you said, there may not be that opportunity ever again. And I truly think your son or daughter, your next generation, will probably be totally fine with that, to understand dad just cashed out for whatever, mom just cashed out for whatever amount of money, and they could do it on their own. You could teach them, like you said.
And the thing is too, do your kids really want it?
100%.
And that's what I live in kind of a farm community, and
yeah,
it is, you have no choice. You're taking over the farm.
yeah.
Like that is, and then like my best friend's dad was in the playground business and he sold that. And it's just like, you look at it, it's like, do my kids actually want it? Or am I kind of putting that limitation on them that, hey, you're taking this over?
Right. Not giving them an option. And sometimes there is that pressure when it comes to second and third and fourth generation. I know my dad talked to me my entire life about it. Growing up, going to, trade shows with him and going to conferences and going to these trips that he would win. And he was like, one day this will be all yours. Keys to the kingdom. Here you go. And I was like, no, it's not what I want. Yeah. And I didn't do it for a while. And then, that bug bit me and I saw it. I started thinking through my life. I was like, man, I never wanted for anything. I grew up in a nice neighborhood on a golf course. I had all the things I ever wanted. I went to private school. This is a great life. Why wouldn't I want to get into it? And, I went the opposite direction from my dad, and I started my own agency. But I was like, man, but again, there's other people out there that don't want that. They don't want to be in that.
And I also look at it like, the thing is, this business, like the Medicare business, they had some disruption recently. The thing is, what happens if you lose 50% of your clients tomorrow, or you could cash in last week? You don't.
You never know. That's the thing. You never know.
Sometimes you take chips off the table. And also, when you're selling, and we're talking like these big exits, it's not a sell and you walk away. It's a sell and you keep operating the business as is.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you could sell it as a second generation and your kids could still work in the business. It's not like it's gone. You just don't own it. They can still run it, operate it, and it could still be a generational business. And that's what some people don't think about. They're like, well, what about this? What about this? And it's like, guys, does your kids actually want it?
Right. So let's rewind a little bit. I'm going to go backwards to go forward a little bit. So in that time period, where you were successful and you were selling, things were going well before you got to that place, was there and you said you're an entrepreneur, was there something inside of you? What was it in you that made you so successful before the luck struck and you sold out, but what was that for you? Was it a hustle mentality? Was it you were like gifted at sales? Was it what was it, like a good pipeline? Like, I know you said Northwestern Mutual probably gave you some great training, but outside of that,
It was being an entrepreneur sucks. It's a roller coaster.
sure.
Like you go up, you go down. Sometimes you hit rock bottom. But I've always been the person that is okay getting the door slammed in their face because another one's going to open.
Yeah.
Everything's going to have opportunities, but you have to, one, put in the work. The insurance business is not an overnight success. And consistency. Like you have to be willing to keep going. Pick up the phone call. Well, like when you don't want to make aging myself a little bit, when you don't want to make cold calls, you do it. When somebody
Yep.
wants to meet with you at 7 p.m., an hour away from your house, you do it. And I put in the hours, the miles. I was driving 50,000 miles a year, meeting at people's kitchen table. You always have to see, like, what's your why? Why are you doing this?
And that's what helped you and fueled you on those days where, sorry, I was taking some notes there, but like those, for lack of better words, for those shitty days that you didn't want to make those calls, those days that you didn't want to get out, or, you could have thought of every excuse of why you don't want to do it. It was like, I got to.
Uh-huh. But also, I had no backfall. Like like I said earlier, I got fired from the banking world. So I was literally collecting unemployment, trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do. And we had a house. We had a house payment. We had car payments. Like we had payments. My wife
Right.
was working, but she wasn't going to cover everything by her salary. So it's like when your back's up against the wall, you dig deep. Failing
So,
is not an option for me.
yeah, I can imagine. So, okay, that mentality shift in you, how do you keep that mentality when now you've got this backfall? You've got generational wealth. You've got millions or gazillions, hundreds of thousands, whatever it is in the bank now. How do you keep that mentality of like, I don't have the backfall. Failure's not an option because now failure could be an option. Like, I got some money in the bank now. I'm okay.
So I just spent the last day with my mentor at his house on a VIP day. And we had this very similar conversation because one of my limited beliefs is I'm going to go to zero.
You're gonna what?
I'm going to go to zero.
Okay.
That is one of my scares, is that I could go to zero tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I hate touching savings accounts. I hate touching brokerage accounts, retire. I like it's for me mentally, that's not an option. That's never being touched. So I know, like, okay, my monthly burn is X. It's kind of the same mentality, like, hey, my back's up against the wall. I need to make money. Yes, do I have a safety net? 100% I do. But the thing is, for me mentally, it's not there.
Yeah.
And I look at it, it's like I need to show my kids what hard work looks like.
100%.
Because I don't want to raise my kids being retired for a quote unquote.
Right.
Because what does that teach my kids? Because who's your kids' heroes? You and your partner.
Yep.
If they watch you not put in the work, what is that going to distill to them? I
So,
asked my mentor this question
yeah.
because he's a very wealthy person as well. And he has a very nice Lamborghini SUV. And I asked him, I said, how do you teach your kids that you could buy anything for your kids tomorrow? Like, how do you distill into them? He literally says one thing. He goes, I look at my son and I say, son, do you see anyone else dropping you off in school in a Lamborghini? No. Let me tell you how I got this. And then explain to them, like, hey, this is how you do it. So my son isn't at that age yet, but once he is, like, I need to show him and teach him that, hey, this is how it is. Like, dad did not always have this.
Yeah.
Mom and dad were not in this position. 3
Yeah,
years.
100%.
But this is how it happens. So I think
And
it's
that's what, yeah,
that
100%. And that's one of those things, like my kids, they'll get mad at me and my wife because we'll be like, we didn't get our allowance this past month. I'm like, you didn't do your chores. You have these chores every day. My kids are teenagers. You didn't do your chores every day, so you're not getting paid. And my son was like, "That's BS, Dad. I did it. I did these. I mean, I said you didn't do all of them." Long story short, fast forwarding, he was 15 years old, still complaining about money. I was like, "Go get your own job. Let someone else tell you. Won't you not do your job for somebody else? See how they treat you." And he started working at 15. Has another job. He's 17, about to be 17. But I started making him go to work. And then at that point, once you got your own job, we made a rule like in our house, once you have your own job, you don't get allowance anymore. Now it's just part of cost of living to live here. You mow the yard not because I'm paying you money to mow the yard. You mow the yard because I asked you to. You have your own money that you're making. Or he'd be like, Dad, I need some money. I'm going to the movies with my friends, or I'm going to this place with my buddies. You got your own paycheck, bro.
Mhm.
Go get it. I want him to understand. Yeah, I could hand him $20 to go hang out, or I could go give him $100 to go hang out for the weekend with his friends, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make him have his own job, earn his way. And now my daughter's growing up right behind him, have 3 kids. My 2 daughters like, oh crap, now I got to get a job. Now I'm going to have to do these things when I get to be that age. And so
You have to put in the work to get the results you want.
100%. So put in that work. Now you fast forward, you've made your exit, and now you're thinking, what's next for me? Where did the consulting bug or the helping other people do this bug kind of come? Is that a happenstance or a luck thing too, or what?
No, I have a
That
lot.
smile tells me some story behind there.
Yeah, no, it goes back to my mentor, honestly. So back earlier this year, I was kind of like, I'm not gonna say in a dark place, but I was just trying to figure out what's next. I wasn't happy where I was at because after you sell, like I said, you work for the company that purchased you. And
Yeah.
I'm not a very good employee,
Right.
a very good entrepreneur. Um, so I was just kind of figuring out like what is next. And
Yeah.
I was scrolling on Instagram one day and I found a guy named Dan Martell, and he was doing a snowboarding trip and he made a live video with Mike Brown, who's my mentor. And after that, I followed Mike, and then we just started talking, and I had no idea what the hell he did. We just kept talking, and he's as a mentor. So I was like, you know what? So I hired him. 4 days later, after chatting with him on Instagram, talked to him on the phone once, never met him in person until
Yeah.
Wednesday of this week. And during one of our coaching calls, he goes, Mike, what's the cure for cancer? And I'm like, you know what? If I knew I wouldn't be on this call.
Right.
I would be doing something else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
he rephrased and said, Mike, what is one problem that you can solve for everybody? That's easy for you, hard for other people. And I said, I know how to structure, I know how to scale, and I know how to sell insurance agencies. He goes, right there. There's your cure for cancer. And that pretty much jump started the consultant business.
Wow.
So in
I like that.
April I started the consulting. Um, because in April the company I sold to and I parted ways, and it just once again back to when I started the insurance business, backs up against the wall, no paychecks coming in. So I
Yep.
busted my ass all summer long, built a $1 million consultant business within 90 days through the same principles that I teach people. So the thing is, in the insurance business, you have to have structure. You got to build the foundation. Once you build the foundation, you can level up. But if you don't have that sturdy foundation, you're building a house of cards that maybe one lawsuit comes, one complaint by a client, one upset employee, everything. But when you actually build it properly, the systems, the technology, the accounting, the legal. Everybody hates legal, but everybody needs legal.
Right.
Um, it just keeps on going. And then scaling, you scale organically or you scale through acquisitions. I love acquisitions. I've actually helped six transactions in the past 4 months. One is closing on Monday. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. And I've helped 2 clients get pretty big LOIs.
What are you like? So, what's the name of the consulting business, and what's your principles there? What do you teach? Is there certain a particular like formula you're following, or is there certain things that you work with? Is it like hourly coaching calls? Like, tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the consultant company is called Relentless Consultant. And there's really 3 ways to work with me. One-on-one coaching. It's where I meet with you every other week for an hour. You have access to me, my team, pretty much any referral you ever need. Like I will make it for you. People that finance my deals, my attorneys, my accountants, my financial advisors, everything. Like you can, as a private client with me, you have access to everything I have. And then I am rolling out a community in January where we're doing a weekly coaching call for an hour. And in that community, I really want my goal with the community is really to help people purchase deals, M&A, and also give you the high overview of my one-on-one coaching calls. And then I'm in the middle of writing a book, in the middle of building out some courses to also offer to people to kind of really have different price points.
Love it. And so, is there anything in particular that you would like the audience to know, or anything like you could leave them with, or just tell them to go to the website and check it out? Is there anything in particular you would like to leave with them or talk to them about? I know you say you and I have talked before we recorded this, obviously, and you know you're not really a hard closer, you're not really a hard pitch kind of guy, but I'm going to push you a little bit on that. Just is there anything though that you could pitch them or like let people know as they're listening, or is it just simply if you want to work with me, if you want to call, like what we do, a quick call to see if there's anything there, like what's the deal? Talk to me.
Yeah, the best way to do it is find me on Instagram. Let's chat through Instagram. We can set up a call, 15-minute call to answer really if you're a good fit for me and if I'm a good fit for you, because it needs to be a win-win. Like in business, everything needs to be a win-win for both parties. Like I'm not going to have you be a part of my community if all you're going to do is bitch and moan. No, I don't need that. And people in my community don't need that. But if you really want to scale up and you want to better yourself and better your business, yes, we can work together and would love to have you be a part of the community or a one-on-one coaching client. Because I only bring on, I'm capping my coaching clients at 10. So there's only 2 left at the way we record this on the 15th. And then that's it. And then once someone falls off, I'll bring a new one on. But
Well, you can only wrap your arms around so many people, so yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, say
I
what?
really love the life I have.
Yeah,
Don't really
no,
want
I
to
get
work
it.
60, 80 hours a week. Does not sound like fun.
I hear you. So, like going back to what you were saying, a prior guest on the show, Brian Ahern, good friend of mine, he always says, good for you, good for me, good to go. It's got to be a win-win all the way around. And so I've always remembered that. It's just a simple way for me to think through that, and I use that throughout my career as well. But man, you really don't have a hard close on that. But I think what you're talking about is just you know so important for people that do want to think about that exit strategy, or they do want, because you've been there, you've walked through those doors, you've scaled, you've made your exit, and now you're building beyond that. Because I've seen a lot of people that haven't been able to build that life beyond that exit, and then they're having to get right back in it, build again. And some people just love that, like that startup, they like that build, and they just continue to do so. But really cool what you're doing. And after talking to you now, relentless makes sense. When you talk about the name of your business, it totally makes sense. But dude, it's been fun. We'll have to definitely catch up again soon and visit some more, man.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.